Hey, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Spilling the Teeth. Boy, are we lucky. I don't know how we got on his schedule today, but we have got an amazing guest. But before we get to him, what are we talking about today? We are talking about something that is at the top of every single person's mind out there, right? We've got a great slogan on this one, right? It's the title of this one: treatment plans and tariffs, right? Everybody's wondering what's going on with this thing. Treatment plans and tariffs. We're going to help you lead your practice through these uncertain times. And I can tell you right now, we've got the best of the best for this, because not only is he the VP and general manager of Henry Schein Dental, but he's also done this in a previous life with his startup before he joined us. So he's gone through these times before. So today we are welcoming Steve Kizzy to the podcast. Steve, thanks so much for taking the time.
Oh, thanks, Ryan. I appreciate being here and looking forward to the conversation.
Yeah, this is going to be fun, man. This is going to be fun. We always get to rap about this behind the scenes, but like now everybody gets to hear us. So hopefully it's worth their 30 minutes at the end of the day. So this should be good.
The inside track, right there.
So like, yeah, exactly. So every day, right, we're out there trying to make all these doctors' lives better. But obviously these are some weird times, right? Because we've got some weird kind of self-inflicted wounds happening, and we're dealing with it on our side and kind of dealing with all these things happening. And heck, now it sounds like there's a depending on when somebody listens to this, hopefully we're not at war by that time, but hopefully everything calms down a little bit, right? But at the end of the day, we want to just help our dental professionals make sense of all of this, like make sense of today's macroeconomic trends, and really address the emotional, like, and operational challenges that they're seeing, right? Because, really we want to just give people practical strategies, because look, as much as this is kind of new and we haven't gone through it, I think we've gone through pieces of this. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, no, none of this is new, but let's be candid. It's good to hit the truth right where it is. Yeah. Dental reimbursements haven't gone up. Expenses continue to rise, and now this tariff situation adds another. Yeah, exactly. And this is what we all need to address together, and we could do this through all different kinds of methods. But it's good to be honest with where we're at today and what we continue to fight as a dental industry, and how we end up on top when this is done.
Yeah, because look, I think that like we said, I'm going back to at least the most recent one that I can remember that I've had to deal with is like the 2007, 2008, right? A lot of people are like saying, like, is it worse? Is it better? I just think it's different, right? Because consumer sentiment is now kind of down from that point. But I think what are the big differences that you're seeing between that time and this time?
So this is a lot slower land than 07, 08. 07, 08 was just a major crash, right? Yeah, exactly. Patients were losing their insurance all over the country. They were losing their job. It was massive unemployment. We're not seeing that. So we are seeing that there's enough patients in the market that are all of our dental friends are able to go and solicit and bring in the door. But what we're seeing now is just a slow trend down, and it's a slower. I don't know the best way to say this. Like, think of it as instead of being on Earth where you're throwing a rock from the top of a hill, you're on the moon throwing it. It just goes down a lot slower. Right? The gravitational pull just isn't as strong with this economic forecast.
Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, because like you were saying, like, I think they're just changing. I think these patients are changing their discretionary spending is what I'm seeing. And that's what's interesting, because I think we've had some good times. I know we've had some good times where in the last couple years or few years, people have kind of come out of COVID and said, I want pretty teeth. I've got some cash in my pocket. Let's go spend it on my teeth and get things going. So like, are you seeing that too? Like, are people like kind of moving to different types of treatments, or what are you seeing so far?
Yeah, so coming out of COVID, you had PPP loans, different types. There was a lot of money being infused in the economy, right? There was a lot of easing there. We're not doing that now, which some can argue is the right thing, some can argue it's the wrong thing. However, with the national debt at the level it is, I believe everybody understands on both sides of the aisle that that's something that we need to solve for.
It's time.
Yeah. So now we're forcing ourselves as citizens of the U.S. that we have to figure out how this is all going to work, and where are we going to get the additional funds in order to pay down debt. And
Yep.
the tariff is something. However, you know what? Let me go backwards. The one part that does make this similar to 07, 08 is the amount of tariffs did smack us pretty hard in the face. No one knew.
You're right.
How hard it was going to be. We knew tariffs were over the horizon. We didn't know how bad the tariffs were going to be.
Yeah. We thought surgery was going to be with the scalpel, and it turns out they used a mallet. Right. I think it's kind of how. Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly.
So I think like the other thing that I want to talk about really quick is like the high interest rates, right? And what does that really mean? And like give me like what that we're thinking about with the new normal there, because I hear more and more people like, if you're waiting for those bad boys to come down, like don't hold your breath.
Yeah, we lived in a society where for so long the 2%, 3% interest rates were normal, right?
Yeah.
And those of us that were able to get a mortgage during that time period, we could either call ourselves really smart or super lucky. I think the super lucky is the real portion there. But interest rates where they are today are where they're normally at. They're normally in that 6, 7, 8% range, and you're between 5 and 8%. And I think this is just something that we have to get used to. And what you'll find is the cost of items should go down, or the value of items should go down as interest rates go up. And you should see interest rates go down as the value of items go up. But right now we're stuck in that teenage stage where values are really high and our interest rate is back to normal. I won't call it high, but back to normal. And so we're facing a lot of hesitancy on whether or not we make those investments moving forward.
Totally get that. But that's where I see it as, and we'll get into this a little bit later in the podcast, but like, I think it's time to go. And what I mean by that is that, I think as Warren Buffett said it, but if there's blood in the streets, buy property. Right. Mm-hmm. So basically, or what was it Clinton said, never let a good crisis go to waste or something like that. Yeah. Both pretty intense comments. But at the same time, like, I think it's something that we need to think about, like, because there are going to be people who sink, right, and kind of sit there and don't really take advantage of these moments, or just say, woe is me, right? Give it the old Eeyore attitude. Whereas I think there's other people that are going to go, look, I can't stop moving. I got to thrive. And like, that's something that I think you and I both as entrepreneurs and having startups, like, I don't know about you, but there are multiple points where if I would have even taken 5 minutes to say, woe is me, I would have just been done and out of business. I don't know if you saw the same.
Oh, no, I should have gone out of business 1,000 times. I mean, I started during the 08 crisis. But right. No, you're 100% right. This is the time that dentists that are entrepreneurial, that know that they have the ability to grow and able to, if you could succeed now, you're going to do absolutely great when the days are good. And this is all cyclical, right?
Yeah.
This is all cyclical.
This is the New York moment. Now is the
time to double down. Absolutely.
Yeah, I like that. If you can make it during this time, you can make it during any time. So let's talk about what can practices do today to respond now, right? So like I'm sitting there, I'm seeing the same macroeconomic trends that you are. My portfolio is still looking like it's, it's like a hot air balloon just going up and down all over the place. What can I do right now? Like, what are some strategies you have or that you've seen it working for these practices that they could do right now?
So one is focus on the basics. Bringing in patient flow, your patient count is super important to you. It's to me, that's the number one metric any dental office should have. The work will be there if you have the patients there. If that's the start of everything. Second is work really closely with your rep to go over what you buy normally and figure out if there's alternatives that aren't so impacted by tariffs. And that has to be a key to this. And there has to be a willingness to kind of make that move. And if you're really looking at this, we're always used to buying that name brand item. I always buy Kleenex boxes, right? Well, lately I've been buying the Kirkland brand because Kleenex makes it and it's just easier. So it's a good time to focus on what alternatives can you go to that don't have no clinical issues at all. What can you focus on to move to in your practice in order to reduce expenses and mitigate any of the tariff impacted items that your office uses.
The Henry Schein tariff analysis. I like that. Like that's
Yes.
there we go. HTA. There we go. Copyrighted right there. So I think that it's one of those things where working with your rep, I think that's brilliant because they can just spot on get that. Like, what do you think about like? I also think how we're going about doing treatment planning is really interesting too, because like treatment plan acceptance is going to be paramount. Because you said getting patients in the door. I think the next step on top of that is working with them within their means, because by the way, they're going through the same problem.
Absolutely. But that's where patient financing comes into play.
Amen.
And now you're no longer selling a $10,000 treatment plan. And I use the word selling on purpose, but this is what the patient needs, right? And it's a $10,000 treatment plan, but it could be $300-$400 a month, which is affordable because again, unemployment rates haven't gone up, so it's not as if they're not receiving income. They're getting income. It's the alternative side of I don't have 10,000 to spend right now, that's where we're seeing the slowdown.
I love that. It's interesting because I think sometimes these doctors, we really got to break the stigma of this, like where they think selling is a bad thing. So let's call it something else. Let's call it just like getting them to say yes to their health, right? Because if a doctor's bad at that, I mean, what's the good in it? Then we're actually doing them a disservice. There's a scene I always remember in Patch Adams, right, where the Philip Seymour Hoffman goes to Robin Williams and says, "I can outdiagnose, I can out-treat any doctor in this hospital, but I can't get her to eat." Right, and there's like this moment where it's like he can't connect with the patient to get the yes. Right, they can't. He's a robot, so he just can't do it. And Robin Williams obviously fills up the giant pool of spaghetti and she eats. Right, but at the same time, it's like one of those things where how many doctors do we know that have said, no, this is a science, this is a they don't want anything to do with selling. Well, enjoy not doing well.
Today more than ever, Ryan. I mean, take a look at. You could see something that's blue and you'll look online and you'll have one side fighting that it's green and another side fighting that it's black. Facts are I understand where you're going with this. The science is the science. But more than ever in today's society, with the voices that everybody has with these online forums, you have to compel. You have to be concise and you have to be compelling. If you're not clear, concise, and compelling, patients will do the wrong thing for their health. And that's really the role of our dentists, is to explain to patients the right path forward.
Great point. That's such a great point. You're right. Like, especially, I mean, look, I think we've been quiet during this whole time. We've been a little bit scared. And I mean, look, Utah just got fluoride taken out of the water. I think we look at some things where we're like, well, that would never happen. We've already made those decisions. Why would it ever go backwards? Well, fluoride got taken out of the water. Enjoy, Utah. Like, it's like, it's just,
I think everything's on the table. Unanimous opinion amongst dentists but
that's right. That's
in the water. Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. I mean, that's really what we need to look at. You have different movements that it's highly political. Everybody has their opinions. Everybody's able to do their own research now. You're not just relying on your doctor's information, and there's always conflicting arguments.
Yeah.
Anywhere you look.
So you can find it wherever you want.
It's our dentist's job. It's the dentist's job to be, again, clear, concise, and compelling. And if they're not compelling enough to those patients, why would they say yes? So that's the key to this. Now, where I find it going backwards in many situations is dentists almost feel bad to offer the treatment plan that they'd give their parents because of the cost associated with it.
Isn't that interesting?
It really is.
It's like imposter syndrome. I really think it's very close to imposter syndrome.
Right. It so much. And I could tell you, if I walked into a dental practice and I didn't get the treatment plan that they would give their own parents, I wouldn't be happy with no matter the cost.
Yeah.
Right.
No, that's right. No, you're 100% right on that one. That's so interesting. Yeah, and you can always hear it in the doctor's voice when they're talking about it. They're like, yeah, here it is. This is going to be $7,800. It's like they whisper it, and they're like so scared to say it. And immediately that's just evoking in the patient going, Yeah, I'm not paying that. You aren't even confident about telling me this number, you know? Like, and you can hear it, like you and I see that when like salespeople, like if you're not confident in the plan that you're bringing forward, like why would that person say yes? There's
Yeah,
no
if
way.
you don't believe in it yourself, it that portrays.
Yeah. Yep. I completely agree.